broadly, it is a separate variety of architecture, which is known as Kalingan architecture, which is part of Nagar style or Nagar, the northern temple architecture. If we before we start this temple architecture, Odisha in ancient time, Odisha was known as Kalinga, Utkal, Odra, Odisha, and now it is Odisha. And Odisha is dotted with a large number of temples. Every village is dotted with the temples, range from 6th century BC to say 6th century AD to 16th century AD. And so far as Bhubaneswar is concerned, I mean the modern capital city of Odisha, this is the epicenter of the temple, the evolution of a temple architecture. Because in Bhubaneswar, you can notice the evolution of a temple architecture. I mean, you can notice from 6th century AD to 16th century AD, and every period temple you can see. And the so far as the practice of temple buildings is concerned in Odisha, my dear friend, as if we recall the practice of a building houses for god and goddesses in Odisha is very old. Because according to the Hathigumpha inscription, by Kharavela, and Kharavela mentioned that after his coronation as king, he repaired and renovated Sarva Devayatana. I mean, he repaired all the Devayatanas which are destroyed by the super cyclones. This is the one of the very important aspect. We can say all Devayatan means maybe the Brahminical monuments were exist, but this is the first century BC. It is perishable materials, and nowadays we don't find any evidence, but we only find the inscriptional evidence. And very interesting aspect. And so far as Gupta rule is concerned, I mean the Gupta rule is concerned, and the Gupta rule constitute the formative period of the temple architecture of India. But we don't find any Gupta temple architecture in Odisha. But it does not mean that in Gupta period in Odisha temple architecture was not started. It started, but we don't find the traces. If we see the upper Mahanadi Valley of Odisha, we see some temples in that is the Lakshmana temple of Sirpur, Chhattisgarh. It is the upper Mahanadi. We find the Gupta temples. So, and there is a reason to believe that the temples were constructed in Odisha during the Gupta period, because already Huensang mentioned about this type of this evidence. And as I said, Odisha is a land of temples, and you can say the evidence of these temple building activities we found not only in inscription but also in manuscript, references, because there are so many architectural text like Bhuvana Pradipa, Silpa Pothi, Silpa Shastraj, Vastu Shastraj in Odisha, we found where it shows the how the temples are constructed. And very interestingly, my dear friends, and till in Odisha, if we see Bhubaneswar and Konark and Puri, the traditional craftsmen are available, are still living. Their main profession to erect temples. So, and as you know, the Hindu temple architecture is broadly divided into three periods: Nagara, Dravida, and Vaishara. ये तो भौगोलिक सीमा के ऊपर आधारित है, आपको पता है, क्योंकि नागर शैली जो है नॉर्दर्न टेम्पल आर्किटेक्चर, द्राविडियन southern temple, and Vaishara the adjoining the amalgamation of Dravida and Nagara. And Very interestingly, why we call Odishan temple architecture as the Kalingan temple architecture? It is very interesting, no doubt in the if we see the Stella Carmis, Donaldson, and the other important, the eminent, I mean the historians and archaeologists, some mention Odishan temple architecture, but some scholars mention that it is the Kalingan temple architecture. And so far as Kalingan temple architecture is concerned, uh, the authentic evidence we found from one inscription we found in Karnataka, in Amarteswar temple at Halol in Karnataka. In this temples we found an inscription. In this inscription, I mean the Stapati, the main Sutradhari, I mean the main architect, वो लिख रहे हैं कि he was expert in Nagara, Dravida, Vaishara, and Kalinga. So this is the only inscription which I mean gives us the idea that along with the Nagara, Vaishara, and Dravida, Kalingan temple architecture was exist. And no doubt, Kalingan temple architecture is a part of a parcel of Nagar Shaili. But in inscription in Holola in Karnataka, we found that it is a variety of, I mean, it is a slightly variety from the Nagar Shaili. So this inscription date about to, I mean, बहुत बाद का है, I mean 1231 AD का है. Okay, so and that's why Odishan temple architecture, also known as the Kalingan temple architectures. Okay, so this is the one of the important reason you can say the Odishan temple architecture. But on the basis of this inscription at Karnataka, we found that this architecture known as Kalingan temple architecture. इसको Kalingan temple architecture बोल सकते हैं और Odishan temple architecture बोल सकते हैं. Or and so far as Kalingan school of architecture we can say, or the Odishan temple architecture, जहां तक सवाल है, one of the important text on architecture in Odisha, that is Shilpa Shastra. We do have large number of this type of shastras, Vastu Shastra, Shilpa Shastras, Shilpa Pradipa, Bhuvanam Pradipa. We have, because my dear friends, in Odisha, in Lalitgir, in Odisha, in Jajpur district, we found some some manuscripts, Tarapatra, or all the manuscripts are written in Protoria, and all the manuscripts mention about the style of the temples, how the temples erected. For your kind information, my dear friends, suppose जैसे अभी गुप्ता टेम्पल और प्रतिहार टेम्पल पढ़ा जाएगा, आपको पता है कि भोजपुर जैसे हैं मध्य प्रदेश में, उसमें से डिजाइन हुआ है, डिजाइन मतलब यू कैन फाइंड द ब्लूप्रिंट ऑफ द टेम्पल्स. In Odisha also, we do have large number of I mean the manuscripts. We have also the blueprint of the stone. I mean the carvings of the temple, how the temple is erected. There are carvings are also found in the temples. These are the I mean the depicted in the Shiva Shastras. And in Odisha, as Madam in the said, this is a part of a Nagara Shaili. And so far the Odishan temple or Kalingan temples are concerned, I mean, this is the types of temple means Rekha, I mean Bhadra, Khakara, Gauriya. These are the four important types of temples we found. Rekha means, my dear friends, curvilinear tower. मतलब देखने के लिए रथ चैरियट जैसा रेखा टेम्पल. रेखा मीन्स कर्विलिनियर टावर, पिरामिड शेप टाइप के होता है, कर्विलिनियर टावर. एंड भद्र टेम्पल मीन्स and always and rekha means the garbhagriha part, the sanctorium part is looks like rekha, means rath or chariot. And Bhadra temple means the jagmohan, the muksala, or the frontal room. And both rekha and Bhadra, if we see the common plan is squares. And khakara Another important style is the khakara. Khakara means, we will discuss. Later on. Khakara. General, this is a types of temple. Khakara means this type of khakara temples generally dedicated to the Devi. Shakti worship. And another, in the latter period in Odisha, we found another a temple style, that is Gauriya, influenced by the Bengal, West Bengal. We found the Gauriya style. So in total, in Odisha, we find Rekha style, Bhadra style, Khakra style, and a Gauriya style. So you can see, this is the parts of the temple. You can see the parts of, parts of the temple. And for a kind of information, if we see the temple architecture, the Odishan craftsmen conceived the temple as the body of a cosmic being. I mean, all the temple organs are compared with, the human beings, the organs of a human being. Like, जैसे हम लोगों का जैसे पाँव होता है, जंघा होता है, और बॉडी, शरीर होता है, और गर्दन, द शोल्डर, बेकी, then the head, mastisk, or and that is the like the Odishan temples in the Shilpa Shastras, and the Odishan temples also divided its organs also, known as on the basis of the cosmic being. So this is a very important and say. And so far as the organs is concerned, first we find the Vimana or Sanctum Sanctorium. Second, the Jagamohan, the Mukshala or the frontal room. Then Natmandap, dancing hall, and the fourth one is Bhogmandap, offering hall, and the last one is Stamba, Bahana Stamba. Suppose a temple dedicated to Shiva, so Bahan means bull, and in case of Vishnu, Jigaru. We will discuss later on. So this is the main part, and as I in the middle portion, you can see the Vastu Purusha. As I said, the Odishan craftsmen conceived the temple as the body of the cosmic being. And so far as the evolution of a temple architecture is concerned, जब क्वेश्चन आता है कि कब से शुरू हुआ है टेम्पल आर्किटेक्चर, जैसे मैं पहले आपको बताया, परंतु so far as the existing temple is concerned. Hello, I am audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the so far the evolution of a temple architecture is concerned, जैसे मैं आपको बताया, नो डाउट खारवेल के अभिलेख में हमको मिलता है, हुएन सांग भी लिखते हैं, परंतु अभी तक हमको कोई उस जमाने का, उस समय का कोई भी स्ट्रक्चर हमको मिला नहीं. जो भी मिला है वो 6th सेंचुरी से मिला है. दैट्स व्हाई द कलिंगन टेम्पल आर्किटेक्चर और ओडिशन टेम्पल आर्किटेक्चर we start from 6th century AD to 16th century AD. एंड जब हम उसको डायनेस्टिक के रूप में देखेंगे, शरदभव पीरियड टू गजपति पीरियड. सो डियर फ्रेंड्स, the long 1000 history, 6th century to 16th century, about 1000 years temple architecture, start, then evolved, then mature, then decline. The total process of a temple architecture in Odisha we found for 1000 years. Start from 6th century to 16th century. So these 1000 years long history of a temple architecture we divided into 4 phases. The total evolution को हम लोग 4 फेज में डिवाइड किए हैं. जैसे फर्स्ट होता है फॉर्मेटिव फेज, बिगिनिंग. this formative phase means beginning phase, 6th century to 10th century. And the dynasty who ruled in 6th century to 10th century, that is Shailadbhava and Bhaumakara. And the second phase is the mature phase, that is the 10th century to 12th century. The dynasty who ruled in Odisha known as Somavanshi. And the third phase is climax phase, 13th century to 14th century, ruled by the Gangas. And the fourth one is The declining phase, the Gajpati. So, dear friends, we divided these four phases on the basis of architecture features. इसको जो हम लोग डिवाइड किए हैं चार फेज में, जो छठवीं सदी से लेकर 16 सेंचुरी तक जो हम लोग डिवाइड किए, 1000 साल का जो लॉन्ग हिस्ट्री को हम लोग डिवाइड किए ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ इट्स द आर्किटेक्चरल फीचर्स. And so far the formative phase is concerned, my dear friends, as I said, the formative phase is 6th century to 10th century. And what are the important feature? Feature is the temple, or in Odisha, the main temple or the Garbhagriha, the shrines on the Garbhagriha known as Deul. Deul. In Odia it is called Deul or a Mandir. And this temple is three rath in plan. Three rath in plan मतलब the curvilinear tower जो रथ होता है, the chariot, it is called रथ means chariot, looks like chariot. It is three rath means बीच में एक होता है, दोनों तरफ से दो प्रोजेक्शन होता है, odd number, three rath, सेंटर में एक, दोनों तरफ से दो, this is called three rath. This is the unique feature of a first phase. And the body portion is divided into Pav, Jangha and Varan. And all the sculptures in this period are low relief. And here we don't found the frontal room. This is very important. In the formative phase, only we found the Deul, or we can say only the chariot, Ratha, only one temple. We don't find any subsidiary shrines. Very interestingly, my dear friends, in this period, in the Garbhagriha panel, in the the door jamb, we only found Ashtagraha by 8 graha. In this period, the formative period, formative phase, हमको ये सिर्फ 8 ग्रह मिलता है, नवग्रह नहीं आता है. उड़ीसा में नवग्रह आता है सेकेंड इवोल्यूशन में. आफ्टर 10th century, almost all the temples we found the navagraha. But before 10th century, 6 to 10th century, जितने भी मंदिर है उसमें अष्टग्रह रहता है. नवग्रह बाद में होते हैं, केतु, और अष्टग्रह में केतु एब्सेंट रहता है. 10th century के बाद केतु का प्रवेश होते हैं, इसमें नवग्रह हो जाता है. परंतु ये जो 6th century से 10th century जितना मंदिर है इसमें अष्टग्रह मिलता है. तो इंपोर्टेंट टेम्पल्स ऑफ ओडिशा इन दिस पीरियड like Lakshmaneshwara temple, Parsurameshwara temple, Swarnajaleshwara temple, Vaital temple, these are temples of Odisha. See, this is the Lakshmana temple group of temples in Bhubaneswar. As I said, this is and my dear friend, I think so far as Bhubaneswar is concerned, as I said, this is the only place in Odisha. And Bhubaneswar, also known as various names, because Bhubaneswar is very important. So far as Ashokan inscription is concerned, this is very located in Bhubaneswar. And so far the early urban center is come, that is Shishupalgarh, it is also located in Bhubaneswar. And temple activities from and Kharavalis inscription also in Bhubaneswar. From 3rd century BC till today, it is going, the cultural activity is going on. So, and this is the only place in Odisha where you can find the evolution of a temple architecture. And Shatrughaneswara group of temples represent the earliest existing temples of Odisha. And dear friends, this temple is the earliest existing temple in Bhubaneswar. This is the Lakshmaneshwara group of or Shatrughaneswara group of temples. Here 3 मंदिर है, आप देख सकते हैं. देखिए मंदिर डायरेक्ट खड़ा है, गर्भगृह के ऊपर मंदिर खड़ा है, और इसमें त्रिरथ है. त्रिरथ मतलब द बॉडी पोर्शन इज डिवाइड, दीज आर द कर्विलिनियर टावर. बीच में एक है, दोनों तरफ से दोनों है. इधर देखिए, इधर भी देखिए, इधर एक है, दोनों तरफ से 2 है, ये बीच में त्रिरथ. रथ मीन्स द कर्विलिनियर टावर, त्रिरथ. बट इसमें गौर से देखिए, इसमें इसके सामने कुछ नहीं है, कोई मंडप, अर्धमंडप कुछ नहीं है. मतलब टेम्पल्स डायरेक्ट स्टार्ट होता है मंदिर से, उसमें और कोई एडिशनल श्राइन्स है ही नहीं इसमें. in C, and the temples, assigned to 7th century AD. डियर फ्रेंड्स, आज मैं जो हम लोग डिवाइड किए चार ग्रुप में, पहला ग्रुप में ये फीचर रहता है, मतलब त्रिरथ टेम्पल इज वेरी स्लो हाइट, प्रोजेक्शन 3 रहेगा, और उसका जो बड़ी पोर्शन होता है ये 3 रहेगा, और जो स्कल्पचर, जो प्रतिमा, जो आइमन, जो पार्श्व देवता, द परिवार देवता और द गार्डियन डेटीज, ये बहुत मतलब इंफीरियर क्वालिटी के रहेंगे, और यू कैन से लो रिलीफ में रहेंगे। और वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग एस्पेक्ट इज, इसमें नवग्रह नहीं रहेंगे, ये फेज में ओनली अष्टग्रह रहेंगे। कौन सा ग्रह नहीं रहेंगे? केतु एब्सेंट रहेगा। अभी देखेंगे, अभी बाद में जैसे 10th सेंचुरी आ जाता है, केतु आ जाएगा, नवग्रह शुरू हो जाएगा इसमें। ये है इनका मेन फीचर। और जो माम अभी पूछ रहे थे कि कौन सा मंदिर है, जैसे जो बिंदु सागर के पास, यही मंदिर स्वर्ण जलेश्वर मंदिर, स्वर्ण जलेश्वर टेम्पल। जैसे मतलब आप जाएंगे ओल्ड टाउन के पास बिंदु सागर, बहुत बड़ा तालाब है, हाँ, ये वही मंदिर है। हाँ, दिस इज द Lakshmaneshwara group of temples, or there are 3 temples, and all the temples, the 3 temples we find the independent temples. We don't have, there is no mukshala, no mandapika, no the mandapa here. Next one. This is the another view. You can see only the structure, the temple or ratha or deul is erected on the place of a garbhagriha. But after this phase, यही फेज के लास्ट चरण में हम देखेंगे कि ये मंदिर के सामने और एक मुखशाला और मंडप रहता है इसमें।
सर, ये जो दिख रहा है वो त्रिरथ योजना पे है ना सर?
हाँ, देखिए ना, त्रिरथ, बीच में सिंगल प्रोजेक्शन है, दोनों तरफ से 2 है, 2 एक 3 त्रिरथ। फिर जितने बढ़ता जाएगा, फिर पंचरथ, दोनों में 4 होगा, बीच में एक पंचरथ, फिर सप्तरथ, दोनों में 3 6 रहेगा, बीच में एक रहेगा, सप्तरथ। फिर क्लाइमैक्स में डाउनफॉल होगा, नवरथ, 9 प्रोजेक्शन, 4, दोनों तरफ 4, बीच में एक, 9, त्रिरथ, पंचरथ, सप्तरथ, नवरथ। नेक्स्ट वन प्लीज। As I said, you can see the inferior quality, the low relief, low relief, the sculptures. देखिए, ये जो स्कल्पचर का limbs, organs is imperfect in this period. You can see the Shiva and Parvati, and the Kartikeya. And very interestingly, my dear friends, here you can see Kartikeya we in associated with his vehicle, I peacock. But in 10th century के बाद we find the sculptures, the deities, the parivar devatas are associated with the other figures like Kartikeya. In 10th century तक कार्तिकेय पिकअप के साथ मिलते हैं, मोर के साथ। और 10th century के बाद मोर के साथ साथ बाएं हाथ में एक कॉक को पकड़ते हैं, हेडलेस कॉक को। हम देखेंगे इसको। नेक्स्ट वन। Yes, this is a very very important temple. This early phase, that is Parsurameshwara Temple. As Dr. Ruchi Madam shared, on which basis we assign the temples. My dear friends, we assign the temple on the basis of temple styles and the paleographical, the inscriptions. Here, and this temple also in early phase, but here we found the addition of the mandapa, or addition of a rectangular hall in front of the temple. We find, you can see the pyramidal shape, roof shape, the sign, and very the original name in the inscriptions, the original name of this temple is Paraswareswara, but अपभ्रंश होके इसको अभी हम लोग क्या बोल रहे हैं, locally known as Parsurameshwara Temple, but original name was Paraswareswara Temple. And you can see the त्रिरथ in design, बीच में एक है, दोनों तरफ से 2 है, 2 एक 2 एक 3, त्रिरथ in design. And the temple, and according to Percy Brown and other art historian, the carvings of early phase is very beautifully carved. So this and according to Percy Brown, he said every stone here is of informative character. It is very important, opinion by the Percy Brown, that every stone in this temple is informative character. And
सर सर सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट यू सर, ये जो कॉर्नर वाली जो ये दिख रही है कन्वीनियल, ये इसके भी कुछ पर्टिकुलर नेम होते थे क्या सर उड़ीसन स्टाइल में?
यस यस, हाँ, ये इसको तो कोनिका पागा बोलते हैं, पर
यस,
हाँ, कोनिका पागा
राहा
बोलते
पग
हैं।
अनुराहा पग इस टाइप के
यस
कुछ।
यस, आ रहा हूँ, परंतु आप देख, मैं इसीलिए थोड़ा सा उसको बाद में रख रहा हूँ। ये कोनिका पाग जो होता है, जैसे हम 10th सेंचुरी क्रॉस करेंगे, जैसे हम लोग को, जैसे इधर है हमारा मध्य प्रदेश में, अमरकंटक में, हम देखेंगे अंग शिखर का प्रावधान आ जाता है, ये डेवलप का अंग शिखर हो जाता है इसमें। मैं इसीलिए उसको रोका हूं थोड़ा सा अभी। ओके, yes, and this is a very important temple. And here, very interestingly, my dear friend, this is the temple, and another, I think Bhubaneswar 2 temple is like, here the interesting scene of a marriage scene of a Shiva and Parvati. And ये शिव विवाह का जो चित्रण किया गया है, इसमें वेरी इंटरेस्टिंगली वी फाउंड इन द शिव पार्वती मैरिज में गणेश का उपस्थित, मतलब बारात जा रहे हैं, अग्नि और ब्रह्मा सब लोग हैं, उसमें गणेश भी जा रहे हैं इसके साथ। और कृष्णा देव जी और केबी राव क्या बोल रहे हैं हम लोग बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे। दिस आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट्स। नेक्स्ट वन, you can see, as I said, here temple Triratha in designing, and in front of the temple you can see the पिलार मंडप और पिलार मुखशाला जिसको बोलते हैं। परंतु 10th सेंचुरी के बाद, प्लीज सी केयरफुली, this is the गर्भगृह, on the गर्भगृह we find the main temple, and in front of the temple you can see the पिलार मंडप और मुखशाला बोल सकते हैं। अभी देखें, जैसे 10th सेंचुरी जाएंगे, ये और मुखशाला नहीं रहेगा, ये पिरामिडिकल शेप हो जाएगा, जगमोहन हो जाएगा, पीढ़ा स्टाइल आ जाएगा इसमें। नेक्स्ट वन, यस, यू कैन सी the I mean the some other views of the, and here very interesting picture, the various forms of a Shiva here we find in the temple architectures. Next, yes, and this is a very unique scene. I mean, you can say that is the marriage scene of Shiva and Parvati. You can see here bride and in the form of bride and bridegroom, that is Shiva and Parvati here. And ये देखो, इसमें जो ब्रह्मा है, ब्रह्मा के नीचे देखिए ये गणेश का उपस्थिति, ये गण शिवगण है इन बारात। यू कैन सी द 3 हेड, ब्रह्मा, सूर्य, अग्नि, and all the ganas, and here the bride in the form of bride and bridegroom, that is Shiva and Parvati. In niche, ये जो पूर्ण कुंभ के नीचे you can see the presence of Ganesh. It's a very unique feature. Okay, so I know T.A. Gopinath Rao, the eminent art historian, he explained that नहीं, ये जो गणेश का जो उत्पत्ति, ये शिव और पार्वती का उत्पत्ति से नहीं हुआ है। ये आई मीन गणपति कल्ट, और गणपति कल्ट इज वेरी 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 अर्लियर देन दिस शिव एंड पार्वती कल्ट। एंड इसीलिए कोई भी काम होता है, गणेश जी को पहला आराधना किया जाता है, और गणपति कल्ट को तो बहुत पहला आया है, इनका ये मानना है। यस, नेक्स्ट वन, and as madam said that when we go from this Parsurameswar temple to that is your Bindusagar towards Lingaraj Temple, every house is encroached, and every house is dotted with this type of early temples. You can see the condition of the temples, because all the temples are captured by the local peoples. Every house in the प्रांगण, उनका प्रांगण में, उनका दीवार में, उनका आंगन में मंदिर ही मंदिर है। And this is the Swarna Jaleshwar temple, and this temple is very similar to like Parsurameswara temple. So I don't go through the details about the temple. This temple is very unique, very I mean very similar to the Parsurameswara temples. This is the early phase, dates back to 7th century AD. Next one, this is another temple, that is Mohini temple. Next, this is also सम आप इसमें देख सकते हैं, ये कि घर का ये जो लेफ्ट साइड जो मंदिर है, ये कि चारों तरफ मतलब घर बन गया, मतलब छत बन गया, ये बीच में मंदिर है। वेरी मतलब इट इज वन ऑफ द एर्लीस्ट टेम्पल, द एर्लीस्ट फेज ऑफ टेम्पल। नेक्स्ट वन। Yes, and this temple is known as, early phase Baital temple, Betal, and this temple is constructed a special variety known as khakra. As I said, the types of temple style, that is rekha, bhadra or pidha, and khakra. Khakra means the wagon vaulted. As you know, in Pratyahar and Paramaraj, in Gwalior region, we found one temple, the Telika temple, Telika Mandir. And in Odisha, this is very unique, and the temple is dedicated to Shakti, the Durga. And this temple attack, Khakara, means wagon vaulted temple. And temple is assigned to 8th century AD. Next one. Some other view of this Baital temple, and this Baital temple this is the earliest specimen of Khakara temples of Odisha, and as you know that the temple dedicated to Chamunda, and almost all the temple, this type of temple only dedicated to Shakti. Next one. Yes, you can see the other important sculptures, Ardhanareshwara, and the depiction of a Lakulish, Harihara, Nataraj, and the sanctum of the temple is captured by the 80-armed Chamunda, which known as the Kapalini. Next one. Yes, now we will proceed the mature phase, which dear friends, it is very difficult for us to compile 1,000 years 1,000 year temple architecture within 1 hour. It is very difficult. So we just describe about the features in every phase, and we will discuss some. We will see the temples. Dear friends, this is the second phase, which is known as mature phase. Origin, then mature. And the period assigned to 10 to 12th century, and the dynasty is known as Somavanshis. And what are the features, my dear friends? I mean, the Somavanshis, so far the Somavanshis is concerned, they are ruled and they rule, the Somavanshi rule in Chhattisgarh area and upper Mahanadi Valley, undivided Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh area. Then they migrated from Chhattisgarh in Mahanadi, on the bank of Mahanadi, and reached to Odisha. I mean, that is the coastal Odisha, that is Bhubaneswar and Jajpur. Very interestingly, and the Somavanshis, they not only migrated from Chhattisgarh to Odisha, but also along with they also carry some aspects जो सेंट्रल इंडिया में कुछ कुछ जो मंदिर स्थापत्य का जो था, कुछ कुछ नया नया चीज वो एक्सपेरिमेंट किया आके उड़ीसा में, हम देखेंगे. व्हाट आर द मेन फीचर? देन द इंपोर्टेंट फीचर ऑफ दिस पीरियड are, like you can see, the first period, the first feature is development of जगमोहन. ये जो फ्रंटल, द फ्रंट जो जगमोहन होता है, ये पूरा पिरामिडिकल शेप में आ जाता है और रेक्टेंगुलर हॉल नहीं होता है. सेकंड में जगमोहन इज टिपिकल पीढ़ा टेम्पल, मीन्स पिरामिडिकल शेप. बॉडी इज डेकोरेटेड विथ अंग शिखर, लाइक जैसे हमको मिलता है खजुराहो में अंग शिखर. एंड अमलक मीन्स द टॉपमोस्ट portion of the temple is supported by the Deula Charini and the Naga and Nagi features. And here, for the first time, we found Navagraha with the association of Ketu in 10th century to 12th century. इसके बाद सब नवग्रह आ जाएगा. And for the first time, Ganesh is associated with mouse. इसके पहले गणेश के पास कोई माउस नहीं होता था. 10th century के बाद गणेश माउस इज एसोसिएटेड विद गणेश. एंड the Saptamatrika, I mean Saptamatrikas are associated with their babies. इसके पहले जो सप्तमात्रिका होते थे सिर्फ इंडिपेंडेंट होते थे, पर 10th सेंचुरी के बाद सप्तमात्रिका आर एसोसिएटेड विद देयर बेबीज, एंड फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम इन 10th सेंचुरी द अष्ट दिग्पाल, जो 8 दिग्पाल होते हैं, इस समय में इसका मतलब दिया गया, शेप दिया गया. सो इंपोर्टेंट फीचर इज द इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ अष्ट दिग्पाल, सप्तमात्रिका विद देयर बेबीज, mouse with association of Ganesh and Navagraha. These are some important features of this period. And कौन सा मंदिर है इंपोर्टेंट ना, इस ये जो फीचर का हम लोग बात किए, इसका इंपोर्टेंट मंदिर कौन सा है ना, मुक्तेश्वर टेम्पल जो मेरे पीछे है, अभी जो गूगल में आप मुझे देख रहे हैं जो पीछे है वो है मुक्तेश्वर टेम्पल. देन ए फेज का राजारानी टेम्पल, ब्रह्मेश्वर टेम्पल, लिंगराज टेम्पल, then I mean other temples in Odisha, but these are some important temples. Next one please. Yes, you know, you can see if we आप परशुरामेश्वर मंदिर देखे थे, उसमें क्या है ना, मंदिर था और सामने एक रेक्टेंगुलर हॉल था. इसमें देखिए मंदिर है, गर्भगृह है, उसके सामने जो मंडप है उसमें पिरामिडिकल शेप, दिस इज कॉल्ड पीढ़ा स्टाइल, एंड एंट्रेंस इज द तोरण, द गेटवे, एंड इसका जो हाइट है 10.5 and 51 मीटर, एंड द टेम्पल इज फेसिंग टुवर्ड्स टू वेस्ट, एंड जगमोहन इज पीढ़ा स्टाइल. एंड वेरी इंटरेस्टिंगली this every inch of the temple is beautifully carved. So Ferguson mentioned, I think आप लोगों को पता है, जितना नेट क्वेश्चन आता है हिस्ट्री और आर्कियोलॉजी में, उसमें आता है क्वेश्चन कि उड़ीसा का कौन सा मंदिर को जेम बोला जाता है, जेम ऑफ ओडिशन आर्किटेक्चर. So this is the temple of Mukteshwar is known as the gem of Odishan architecture because every inch of the temple is beautifully carved. So this is a very important temple, and here we found the temple encircled by a prakara wall, I mean the boundary wall, and the developed Jagamohana with his Toranodwara, I mean the gateway. Next one please. Yes, another, you can see the another view of this temple, Mukteshwar temple. You can see the yes, my dear friend, you can see the Pancharatha. 1 2 दो इधर दो उधर 4, बीच में एक 5 पंचरथ. एंड मंडप देखिए, मंडप क्या है, इसमें जो मुखशाला जो है जगमोहन जिसको बोलते हैं, ये पिरामिडिकल शेप आ गया, टायर सिस्टम, पिरामिडिकल शेप टायर सिस्टम, एंड एनसर्कल्ड बाय ये प्राकार वाल, छोटा सा एक बाउंड्री वाल दिया गया इसमें, उठी मंगल तोरण. नेक्स्ट वन प्लीज. Some other view of this Mangal Torana gateway. This is very interesting temple, very nicely carved temple actually, located in the heart of the city. Next one. Yes. So, dear friends, very interestingly, and this is the monument, and this is the product of a Somansis of 10 to 12th century बीच में जो आते हैं. और ये क्या है, as I said, this temple, every inch of the temple is beautifully carved, and very interestingly, here you find the beautifully carved Panchatantra stories in the windows, Panchatantra story, and in the temple walls we find the Jain, the Buddhist, and the Brahminical. I mean the amalgamation of the Buddhist, Jain, and Hindu, or the Brahminical. The Jain Tirthankar depiction, you find the Jain Tirthankars, the Buddha in the Bhumispar Samudra, and the Brahminical feature. We can say the amalgamation of the three religions. Next one, please. Yes, my dear friend, I just compare. You can see the earlier temple. This is the Parsurameshwara temple. You can see the temple with the pillared hall. Here you can see the temple with the pyramidal shape type of a Jagamohan. I just compare in the early phase and the origin phase, early phase, and the mature phase. Next one. Next, the important temple known as Rajarani Temple. And this is also very important temple in Bhubaneswar. And why it is called Rajarani Temple? The original temple is called Indreshwar. The original name of this temple is Indreshwar. But locally and popularly known as Rajarani. Rajarani means, see, according to some craftsman, I mean the art historian, Rajarani a famous variety of a stone in Odisha. So on the basis of that, it is known as Rajaranya Prastar or Rajarani stone. And and it's a dead temple, it is not a living temple. But other temples which I show, that is the living temple. This is the dead temple. Because the Garbhagriha is empty. And a Garbhagriha is without a deity. But so, as I said, you can see the Anga Shikhara, very similar to the temples of the Khajuraho. You can see the body of the temple is total decorated with the Anga Shikharaj, the influence of a Central Indian influence here we found. And the real name, as I said, the Indreshwara, and it is very similar to the Kandariya Mahadeva temple at Khajuraho. You can see the Anga Shikharaj, and assigned to the 10th century AD. Next one. You can see the other, the other part view of the site. You can see the Amlak. Amlak is encircled and supported by the Devula Charinis, the Kumbha. Next one. You can see the clear picture of Anga Shikharaj, the miniature temples. Next one. This is the Naganagi feature. As I said, this is the influence of Central Indian influence. ये उड़ीसा में नहीं है, ये प्रभाव केंद्रीय मतलब जो सेंट्रल इंडिया का प्रभाव है इसका. नेक्स्ट वन. See the Naganagi feature. Next one. Yes, and this temple is very, as I said, मैं जैसे आपको बोल रहा था, the अष्टदिक्पाल, I mean जो 8 दिशाएं हैं, अष्टदिक्पाल. So you perfectly the अष्टदिक्पाल are positioning in these temples. I mean north, south, east, west, and other such like the directions. Next one, please. See, I mean Agni, that is Kuber and Narit, and the all the Ashtadikpalas are positioned in perfect positions in the temple architecture of Rajarani temples. Next one. Then we another important temple in this phase, that is the Brahmasor Temple. Very near, very close to this Rajarani Temple. राजारानी नदी के थोड़ी आगे जाएंगे तो पड़ेगा आपको Brahmasor Temple. And the inscription of this temple, that this temple was constructed by the Somvanshi king Udita Kosari, I mean the Kulavati, mother of Somvanshi king. And it is very interestingly, it is a Panchayatan temple. Panchayatan temple मतलब बीच में एक और चारों कोने में 4 shrine होते हैं और बीच में Panchayatan temple. This is a Panchayatan temple in Bhubaneswar or Brahmasor. This is also very beautiful temple assigned to 10th century AD. Next one. You can see the 4 temples in the 4 corner, and in the middle you can see the Garbhagriha with the pyramidal shape Jagamohan, the Panchayatan temple. Next one. This is another view of Brahmasor temples. Next one. Yes, and in this mature phase, the we can say the mature phase reached its height during the period of Lingaraj. As you know, and Lingaraj temple is a typical Kalingan style of temples. I mean, Pancharathini designs, and and very interestingly, my dear friend, don't confuse to see this Lingaraj temple. Originally, the temple was constructed by the Somansis or in 10th century, but large number of shrines are added in later period, 12th century, 13th century, 14th century. Originally, the temple is assigned to 10th century, 10, 11th century by the Somansis. And next one, please. Yes, and you can see, you can see the temple with the, don't confuse, because here three shrines are there: the main temple, the Jagamohana, and the Natamandap. My dear friend, these Natamandap and you can see the Bahana Stambhas. Here the Bahana Stambhas. Bahana Stambhas and subsidiary shrines are built, in Ganga period. I mean, in the 13th, 14th century. Originally, in the past, during the Somansi period, only two structures are erected. That is Garbhagriha and Mandapa, or you can say the Jagamohan. In the latter period, Ganga period, the other shrines are added. So the original and the original name of the temple is Kirtivasa temple. Lingaraj, local known as the Lingaraj Temple. And it is the not the temple is not dedicated to only Shiva. It is a Shiva. It is an amalgamation of Shiva and Vishnu, Hari and Hara. Because जैसे कोई भी मंदिर का, जैसे मंदिर के ऊपर जो आयुध होता है, इधर शिव जी का मंदिर होगा तो उसमें ट्राइडेंट का त्रिशूल रहेगा, विष्णु का मंदिर होगा तो उसमें चक्र रहेगा, परंतु इसमें आप देखेंगे ना त्रिशूल है ना चक्र है, इसमें अर्जुन का गांडीव धनु है। इसमें जो वाहन स्तंभ है उसमें ना गरुड़ है ना वृषभ है, उसमें दोनों है। I mean, गरुड़ and वृषभ, bull and Garud are placed in the Vahan Stambhas. I mean, the temple is dedicated to both Hari and Hara, Harihara temple, but locally known as the Lingaraj temple. I mean, see, the huge linga. But my dear friend, if we visit this temple, you don't find the linga there. No linga. It is Swayambhu linga. I mean, a small platform. Next one, please. Yes, this is the the oblong plan of the Jagamohan Natamandapa. This is the next one, please. Yes, another view of Lingaraj temple you can see, and this is the latter addition temples. Next one. So in this context, in 10th century, in the remote area of Bhubaneswar, we found in every village, we found some temple, and this is one of the temples of Varahi, the concept of a Varaha. And this, here we also found this type of a temple architecture in Varahi temple in Prachi Valley of Odisha. Next one. This is the another view of this Somansi phase or mature phase. Next one. Yes, and as I said, Bhubaneswar is the only place where you can find the evolution of a temple architecture. And like in Western Odisha, like in Upper Mahanadi Valley, very close to the Chhattisgarh, we also found the temples of this period, Soman's period. One temple known as Twin Temple of Gandharad in Bodh. The temple, one structure is dedicated to Shiva, in inscription known as Siddheswara, and another temple is dedicated to Nilamadhava or Vishnu. So this is the temple of Somansi or 10th century AD. You can see. Next one. Yes. Now we will proceed towards the climax phase. We already discussed the origin, then mature, and the climax phase. So in this phase, the Odishan temple architecture reached its climax. उसमें क्या the features क्या है? I mean, pista means the platform. Platform became the regular feature. then Saptaratha. In the previous one, we find the Pancharatha. Now the temples are Saptaratha. तीनों तीन तीन कोने में बीच में एक तीन तीन छह के साथ सप्तरथ. Then Nata Mandapa and Bhoga Mandapa, meaning dancing hall, because during this period we find Devadasi. I mean the Devadasi system, the Nata Mandapa and Bhoga Mandapa, offering hall, prasad. I mean the offerings. Then पार्श्व देवता परिवार देवता के लिए अलग अलग मंदिर बनने लगा. वाहन स्तंभ इंट्रोड्यूस. देन कंसर्ट ऑफ दिक्पालज, जो इसके पहले जो दिक्पाल थे वो इंडिपेंडेंट थे, अभी दिक्पाल के साथ साथ उनके जो डेटी गुडी का आगे गॉडेसेस आगे. देन द आयरन बीम्स वर यूज्ड ड्यूरिंग दिस पीरियड. Irons for the construction of the temple, the huge irons are used. And for the first time in the Navagraha, Rahu holding the moon and Ketu holding the sword, for the first time introducing this period. And Surya appeared as the bearded figure. Surya ko bearded figure. And the important temples are Jagannath Temple, Sun Temple Konark, Ananta Vasudha Temple Bhubaneswar, and other temples. Next one, please. Yes, this is the Jagannath Temple. It is very famous. All of us know that it is a very beautiful and very famous temple, the Jagannath Temple. And and it is a living temple. It is not like Rajarani Temple, or it is not like Sun Temple Konark. It is a living temple, because from the origin till today, it is a living temple. And dear friends, to protect the temple from the sea wind, the Marathas and other rulers, they protected the temples in chunas, or the lime mortars. So in colonial period, when the Britishers came, the temples look like white. And due to the downfall of the nature of the Sun Temple Konark, it looks like dark. So in the colonial period, the Britishers, I've designed this temple as the white pagoda. The Jagannath Temple is known as white pagoda. But the Konark Temple, due to its dark in nature, dark in color, known as, the black pagoda. But my dear friends, after, when ASI conserved this temple, when ASI protected this Jagannath Temple and deplastered the limes from the temple, you can see the beautiful picture, the beautiful, ornamentation of the temple. Now it is known longer as the white pagoda. अभी इसको white pagoda इसीलिए नहीं बोला जाता है क्योंकि जितना चुना जो था उसको निकाल दिया गया. But in colonial period it looks like white, क्योंकि जो समुद्र के अंदर जो व्यापारी लोग आ रहे थे, जो कार्गोज एंड बोट्स आ रहा था, the both Konark Temple and Jagannath temples, they acted as the lighthouse systems, the direction. And though it is white in nature, it is known as white pagoda, and black in color in Sun Temple, it is known as black pagoda. It acted as the lighthouse. But now, after ASI conserved, Archaeological Slum of India, when it conserved the temple, now it is in the original form. And the temple was built by the Ananta Barman Chodagandeva of Ganga dynasty. Next one, please. Yes, I just take aerial view. You can see the four structures: the Garbhagriha, the main temple, Jagamohan, this is the Nat Mandap, this is the Bhog Mandap. The four equal structures. You can see the main temple, Jagamohan, Nat Mandap, Bhog Mandap. The main temple, this is the Mukshala, or you can see the and this is the dancing hall, this is the offering halls. Next one, please. Yes, when when we entered the Jagannath Temple, in front of the temple, you find a Garud Stamp, Garud pillar. it is very surprise, Garud pillar is inserted in the Garbhagriha. I mean, sorry, the Jagamohan. But when we entered the Jagannath Temple, in front of the Jagannath Temple, you find a pillar, a Arun stamp, bolte hain, Arun. So it is, and for your kind of information, it was originally it was in the front of a Sun Temple Konark. When Konark became declined, the Marathas, with the help of a 30 bullock cart, they transported the Aruna Stamba from Konark and installed in Puri in the front of Jagannath temples. It is not a part and a parcel of Jagannath temple. ये जो अरुण स्तंभ दिखाई दे रहा है ये इसका पार्ट नहीं है, ये सूर्य मंदिर का पार्ट था. जब मराठा लोग आए वो उसको लेकर आके इधर स्थापित कर दिए. And you can see the other total alignment of the temples. Next one, please. Yes, this is the the pictographs of 1802 and this is the 1890. You can see the the looking of Jagannath temple. You can see. Next one, please. You can see the temples how it looked like during the 1890. Next one, the Grand Road, Bardand बोलते हैं इसको. The in the chariot, in the chariot festivals, रथ यात्रा के समय में यही रथ गुजरते हैं. Now it is very wide. Next one. Very after the the Jagannath temple in Bhubaneswar, chronologically we find another temple known as Ananta Vasudeva temple on the bank of the Bindu Sarovar. I mean known as Bindu Sagar. I mean Bindu Sagar means it is believed that it is the Bindu, I mean drop of all the oceans, and it is also known as and this temple also erected by Chandrika Devi, daughter of Anang of the third of Ganga period. Next one, please. उसको ओमिट कर दीजिए क्योंकि उस जमाने के जब हम लोग सर्वे किए थे, कुछ सर्वे हम वो एरिया में जब किए थे वही धौली के पास आसपास हमको कुछ वही गंगा पीरियड का कुछ मंदिर मिला था. जस्ट इसको आगे बढ़ा दीजिए, बढ़ा दीजिए आगे. Next. Yes. Okay. Now, I think the Odishan Temple architecture or Kalingan Temple architecture reached its climax at Sun Temple at Konark. Here we found all the, as you know, the main sanctum sanctorum was totally demolished. The lower part is totally demolished. जो आप देख रहे हैं, this is the only मुखशाला और the जगमोहन. आप इमेजिन कर सकते हैं जब जगमोहन इतना बड़ा है तो उसका जो मेन टेम्पल कितना बड़ा रहा होगा, the twice. And you can see all the alignments, the Jagmohan, Natmandap, Bhogmandap with the grand. These are, and the temple, this temple is very beautifully carved, and you can see the every inch of the spokes and every inch of the stones is beautifully carved. That's why on the basis of architectural features, the art historians named that the Kalingan Temple architecture reached its climax during this period at Konark or Sun Temple at Konark. Next one, please. You can see this is the you can see the Garbhagriha total demolished. I mean the lower portion, the lowermost portion is demolished, and this is the only the Jagamohan this time. Next one. The beautiful evidence we found from this temple, the depiction of a giraffe. As you know, giraffe is a African animal, and in Konark temple we found the depiction of a giraffe. I mean you can see the offer, they offered the elephant and they offered giraffe. I mean maybe some sort relations of Africa with the Kalinga, because the depiction of giraffe. and it was a very important center of a maritime trade, because we very near to the Konark we found a port town, the port towns. I mean, maybe there a contact of either the trade contact or social contact with the Africa countries. Next one, you can see the dilapidated condition of Konark in 17th and 18th century. Next one, and this is the conjectural view जे कैसे रहा होगा ये मंदिर. Krishna Dev and other Ferguson, they just created the imaginary and the conjectural view of the temples on the basis of the ruins. Next one, very close to the Sun Temple, another temple known as a Gangeswari. I means the Ishta Devi of Gangas. This is the very close to very close to the Sun Temple Konark.